What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video, this time for UFC Fight Night. Cannonier versus Rodrigues, coming off of finally a good card on picks this year. Start of this year's been rough. We did really good on UFC 312, had some really nice underdog picks there hit. Hoping we carry the momentum here. There's a couple underdogs I like on this card. It's a pretty decent Fight Night card, so let's jump right into it, fellas. Kicking us off at women's bantamweight, Julia Avila versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. This is a pretty open and shut case for me, fellas. I'm going with Jacqueline Cavalcanti here. I genuinely think she's kind of decent. She's much younger than Julia Avila, much bigger. I think she's way better on the feet, and I don't think Avila can work any type of effective wrestling against the Cavalcanti. I think she's just better than her outright. And I think she'll keep this fight on the feet where she's much better than Avila. I think she'll probably win a decision here. I could see her getting a finish, but I'm going to be safe. It's a women's MMA fight. I'm going to say she's going to get a decision win here. Moving up to heavyweight, Don'Tale Mayes versus Walter Walker. You know, I said this card was decent, but we are starting out with some absolute slop. I'm going with Walter Walker. He's a grappler, and Don'Tale Mayes isn't. Walter Walker on the feet is quite horrible, but I don't see him getting chinned into oblivion by Don'Tale Mayes, really. But what I can see is I can see Walter Walker just falling on top of Don'Tale Mayes, and Don'Tale Mayes not being able to get back up. I've seen this one before. You know, if Hamdi Abdelwahab can take you down easily, I mean, this guy's got the frame of a fucking mutant. I think he could probably take down Don'Tale Mayes and smash him with ground and pound, or even lash up a submission. I'm gonna go with Walter Walker here. I'm gonna say he submits Don'Tale Mayes. I'm gonna say Don'Tale Mayes trying to get up, gives his back, and Walter Walker just rear naked chokes him. I could see that happening. I could also see Walter Walker getting a TKO to ground and pound here in this matchup. Moving up to a bantamweight, Vince Morales is taking on Elijah Smith. Guys, I think I'm going with Vince Morales here over Elijah Smith. I've kind of been recently, we've seen this. Guys coming off of the Contender Series making their UFC debut that are aligned as like favorites, they're just a lot of times not that good. And Elijah Smith is kind of how I feel here. I think he's decent. I think he's got a good skill level. He's got decent striking. He's got a decent takedown, and he's got some submission skills. But he's a young guy, an inexperienced guy, who hasn't really fought anybody of any type of above mediocre level. And him being aligned against a guy in Vince Morales who, you know, he doesn't have the prettiest record in the world. He's not the greatest fighter in the world. But this guy's had experience in the UFC for a long time. He got cut by the UFC. He fought his way back on the regionals by finishing a bunch of people in a row. And then took on Taylor Lapulus on short notice and gave him a pretty tough fight. You know, I could just see someone with Vince Morales' experience in big fights against better levels of competition. I could see him kind of getting ahead of Elijah Smith here. Also, Vince Morales, he's got really tricky submissions. He's got a nice Darce choke. Like, let's look here. He's been getting some pretty nasty submissions as of late. 5 submissions, 7 TKOs. Almost get this shit out of my face. What the fuck? You know, Hunter Azure subs him. Guerrero subs him. Unanimous decision against Moyota. TKO. Like, this is since getting cut by the UFC. He got cut here because he lost a decision to Miles Johns. And also, when you dig into his losses, I mean, Miles Johns is decent. Jonathan Martinez is borderline ranked. Chris Gutierrez is borderline ranked. I mean, his worst loss, really, in the UFC is Benito Lopez, which, I mean, it's not a great look, but, you know, I mean, I'm going to go with Vince Morales here, man. And Taylor Lapulus. He lost to Taylor Lapulus. I think he can catch Elijah Smith in a submission. And I also think he can keep himself in there in the striking as well. I don't know. I just don't trust these Contender Series guys that are favorites. Granted, Smith isn't a massive favorite like Cody Steele was last weekend, and we faded Cody Steele with Rong Zhu. So I'm just gonna keep that trend going until I'm proven otherwise that these guys are actually decent. Um, yeah, I just don't trust it. I just don't trust him being the favorite. I'm gonna go with Vince Morales. I think he's gonna catch Elijah Smith in a submission. We'll see though. I do think Smith is good. I think he's actually a decent guy coming off of the Contender Series, but I'm uncertain of where he stands against actual competition right now. Moving up to welterweight, this is a good fight. Gabriel Bonfim versus Chaos Williams. I'm going to go with Gabriel Bonfim. A very slight lean, though. I think this is the better of the two Bonfim brothers for sure. Gabriel Bonfim's really good. I think he's got nice technical striking. I think he's got good takedowns. I think he's got really good submission skills. The only question mark about him was after his Nicholas Dalby fight, where like, how does the cardio hold up? And his last fight, although he didn't get the finish against Angel Lusa like he probably should have, he did show that he could go all 3 rounds pretty hard, which is a good look. He is a really young guy, so I trust that once he lost to Dalby, he's like, okay, I need to get this fixed. And that's something that you can get fixed really easily when you're a young guy like this. Just fucking do a couple more fucking rounds on the fucking assault bike or something, brother. Chaos Williams, very dangerous striker, very powerful guy. Not very technical on the feet, if I'm being honest. Loops a lot of shots. Made Rolando Bedoya look good. You know, meh. I'm going with Gabriel Bonfim. I could see him getting caught by Chaos Williams. Chaos Williams always has that upside of just being able to flatline somebody if he hits him clean, unless you're Orlando Bedoya for some reason. But I think just skill for skill, I think Gabriel Bonfim is just much better than Chaos Williams. I think he's got way more technical striking. I think he can mix it up if he wants to. I think as the fight gets deeper, I think Chaos Williams' takedown defense might get a little bit worse. Granted, maybe Bonfim starts to slow down. Could happen. But I think if we get Chaos Williams down, I think Bonfim could finish him, especially if it's a little bit later into the fight. I don't know if Chaos Williams will keep that same explosiveness that he has. I'm going to go with a Bonfim decision here, actually. I think it would be like 29-28 decision for Gabriel Bonfim. I think, yeah, I can see that. I can see Chaos Williams getting around here. I think this fight's going to be pretty close. I think it's going to be pretty sketchy in parts for Bonfim, but I think he's going to persevere with his better mixed martial arts skill set. That's what I think. Moving up to flyweight, Rafael Estevam versus Jesus Aguilar. Line's a bit wide, I'm going to be honest. Jesus Aguilar, I think, is a little bit underrated. A lot of time. He was underrated against Stuart Nickel. I wanted to pick him, but I picked Stuart Nickel like a bot, and now look at what happened. Jesus Aguilar is genuinely pretty fucking good, I think. He's got really good power, and he's got nasty submissions. My problem in this matchup is Estevam also has very nasty submissions, and he's just a guy he's just so much bigger than Jesus Aguilar here in this fight. I mean, he's got 6.5 inches of reach over him. He's much taller. I think he has fought and beaten a better level of competition. I mean, he's got a win over Charles Johnson, which I think is really good right now. Charles Johnson's been looking really good, so having a win over him, I think, is pretty impressive. I think Jesus Aguilar is going to struggle to find success here on the feet. I don't know if he can really find success in the grappling. And I've seen Jesus Aguilar, you know, I've seen him get subbed before. Granted, it's by Tetsuro Taira, right? So we can't... Is Estevam as good as Tetsuro Taira in the grappling? Probably not. But his only losses are coming by sub. And Estevam is a pretty proficient submission guy. He's got 3 subs and he's got 4 TKOs. I could see that. I could see Jesus Aguilar taking a bad shot. I could see Estevam catching him or something. I could see him catching him on the feet as well, using that 6.5 inches of reach. I'm just going to go Rafael Estevam here. I think this line's a little bit wide. But yeah, I think I'm going to go with like an Estevam decision here. Kind of similar to the Bonfim and Chaos Williams fight. I could see Jesus Aguilar having like a moment of success, but Estevam kind of persevering and winning like a 29-28 decision. That's kind of how I'm feeling about this one. I think this fight's going to actually be a little bit close, but we'll see. Moving up to lightweight, Jared Gordon is taking on, god damn it, I forgot how to pronounce this guy's name. It's like Marsh Rob John or some shit. Mash Rub John. Ruzaboev Nursultan Ruziboev's brother, I do believe. This fight just got changed, so I haven't had time to do any fucking like research into this guy like at all, beyond like a surface level. Jared Gordon was originally taking on, I think, Cowboy Fernandez, and I was thinking about picking Fernandez as an underdog, but unfortunately he's out. So now we have Mashrab-John Ruziboev. My problem with the Ruziboev fellas is that they are a little bit, like, you see this record and you're like, holy fucking shit, dude, this guy's a murderer. But it's just like, same thing with Nursultan. They're just, I don't feel like they're really that good. I'm just gonna, like I said, full disclosure, almost no research into this. I don't know shit about Mashrab-John Ruziboev, if I'm keeping it real. But I'm gonna go with Jared Gordon just because I don't know enough. But this is an uneducated pick, so if you're reading into what I say at all, don't read into this one. I'm just gonna go with Jared Gordon. He's got good boxing. He's got good grappling, ish, and he's really good at grinding on people. Pause. He's really good at dragging guys into a very gritty fight, which is good for him and typically bad for his opponents. I'm gonna go with Jared Gordon. He's shown a good level in the UFC lately. Like, when we look here, I did not mean to do that. He got robbed against Haqparast. I picked him to KO Mark O. Madsen. Headbutted against Bobby Green, and he beat Paddy Pimblett. He should have a win over Haqparast and Pimblett. And those are honestly, in my opinion, pretty good fucking wins. So, I think he can get a win here over this guy on short notice. In my humble opinion. Moving up to women's strawweight, Angela Hill taking on Ketlin Souza. Guys, I don't know about this one. Dude, Angela Hill's fucking 40. Can I really pick a 40-year-old lady? Thing is, she hasn't looked bad. She hasn't really looked bad. I'm going to go with Angela Hill. I don't know. Ketlin Souza has good power in her hands, but she knocked out Yasmin Uruguay, and I think Yasmin Uruguay has no chin at this point, so that doesn't really mean that much to me. I'm going to go with Angela Hill. More experience against higher level of competition, and I feel like if Ketlin Souza doesn't finish Angela Hill, does she win a 3-round decision against Angela Hill? Most ladies don't win a 3-round decision against Angela Hill, if I'm being honest. Like, Mackenzie Dern got her, Tabitha Ricci got her, but she beats, Emily Ducote, who's not very good. Denise Gomes is a good win. Denise Gomes is somebody who's finished Yasmin Uruguay as well. And then Luana Pinheiro subbed her. Like, even at 40, I feel like she's been looking pretty decent overall. I don't know if Ketlin Souza is quite on the level to get one over Angela Hill, even though she's 40. She's got good power, good striking. She's got submission skills as well. Could be live for a finish. But if it doesn't materialize, I don't know if she beats Angela Hill. So I'm just going to lean Angela Hill by decision. I could see this fight going either way, as the line would indicate. But yeah, I'm going to go with Angela Hill. Moving up to featherweight, Conor Matthews versus Jose Delgado. I'm going with Jose Delgado. I think Conor Matthews is a bum. He has not done anything to impress me at all. And Jose Delgado's got nice striking, and I think he could finish him. He's got a takedown as well. I don't think he'll need to use it here. I think he can keep this fight standing and finish Conor Matthews. Conor Matthews is very hittable. And Jose Delgado is very good at hitting people. So, I'm going to go with Jose Delgado here. I think he's going to get a TKO finish here over Conor Matthews. I just don't rate Conor Matthews very much at all. Moving up to middleweight, Rodolfo Vieira versus Andre Petroski. I'm going with Rodolfo Vieira over Andre Petroski. I don't think Petroski's very good. I think he sucks. He's got a glass chin. He's got good submission skills. He's got decent power, but he overswings and gasses himself out very hard. My thing is, he's got decent submissions. Vieira's got way better submissions than he does. I think on the feet, even though I don't really rate his striking that much, I think he's a lot cleaner than Petroski. I just don't think Petroski's that good, man. When we look into his wins and losses here, Jacob Malkoun beat the shit out of him. He got killed by Michel Pereira, but that's okay. Beat Josh Fremd, who's terrible. Beat Dylan Budka, who's fucking terrible. Split decision over Gerald Meerschaert. I don't think he should have gotten that. As somebody who picked Petroski to beat Meerschaert, I don't think he should have gotten that decision, to be honest, off of my memory. Rodolfo Vieira is a tough guy. He's a tough ask. Oh, not what I wanted to do, but that works. He's coming off of a sub over Cody Brundage. Meh. But now he's coming off of a sub over Armen Petrosyan. This is a legit win. I don't think a Petrosky beats a Petrosyan. And honestly, Stoltzfus isn't looking like that bad of a win now either. He lost to Chris Curtis, who's good. And fucking Hernandez. Alexander Hernandez. Not Alexander Hernandez. Anthony Hernandez. I said Alexander Hernandez. I'm a bot. Like, these are two fine losses to have at middleweight. Both of these fighters, Chris Curtis and Anthony Hernandez, are decent. I think Anthony Hernandez is going to be top 10 soon. I don't know so much about Chris Curtis anymore. But Rodolfo Vieira, I think, is live for a submission. I also think he could finish Petrosky. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just he's got no chin at all. He got KO'd by someone's hip bone. He got KO'd by Jacob Malkoun's hip bone. He KO'd himself off of a takedown. So I'm going to go with Vieira here. I think it'll be a pretty hard-fought fight for over 3 rounds. Both these guys kind of gas out, but honestly, I've seen Petrosky gassed out even more than Vieira. I've seen Vieira eat 600 body shots from Chris Curtis and still be walking forward, so I think he's got him on the cardio. I'm going to go with Vieira. I think he could submit him, but I think most likely outcome is probably a decision here. No. I think he's going to submit Petrosky. I think he's levels above him in the jiu-jitsu, honestly. Moving up to lightweight, Ishmael Bonfim versus Nazim Sadikov. Ooh, I'm not sold on Ishmael Bonfim. I'm just not. Getting bitched by Benoit Saint Denis now does not look quite so good anymore. Granted, Nazim Zadikov's last fight is a draw against Vyacheslav Borishev, which, you know, you can argue that doesn't look the best recently, but I don't know, man. I don't know if I trust Ishmael Bonfim, and I think Nazim Sadikov is genuinely pretty good. Why does it keep doing that, brother? That is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to pull up their profiles here so we can look at them. I believe Ishmael's coming off of a win over Vince Pichel. Yeah. Taking Vince Pichel, who's 40, to a unanimous decision. Do not love. Good win over Terrence McKinney. Evan Elder's a good win. I think I'm going to go with Nazim Sadikov, honestly, as a plus 180. There's no reason for me not to. Like, he's well-rounded. He's got good striking. He's got good grappling. He's got good submission skills. So does Ishmael Bonfim, but I just don't... Something about him I just don't trust. In my head, I just see him just letting Benoit Saint Denis body kick him 19 times in a row. And anyone that stupid, I just don't think I can trust. Genuinely. I'm going with Nazim Sadikov. I'm going to say Nazim Sadikov gets the decision here. Honestly. Fuck it. I don't know. This fight's polarizing to me. I really don't have a good read on this one. Because both of these guys, more so Bonfim, is very volatile in the way he looks in fights. Like, sometimes he looks like, you know, the guy who showed up against Terrence McKinney and obliterated him. Other times he lets a guy beat the shit out of him. Or other times he takes a 40-year-old man who hasn't fought in 3 years to a fucking decision. You know? Like, if he's not finishing Vince Pichel, is he finishing Nazim Sadikov? I don't think so. I don't know. That's a fucking tricky one for me. Moving up to middleweight, Edmund Shabazian taking on Dylan Budka. I'm going with Edmund Shabazian. Dylan Budka fucking sucks. He's terrible. He's garbage. I hope he loses this fight and gets cut, to be honest. This guy's supposed to be some dude with wrestling credentials. This guy fucking sucks. I mean, he couldn't take down Cesar Almeida. He couldn't take down Andre Petrosky. This guy's booty butt cheeks. Somehow took this Bakoyev guy to a split decision for 5 rounds at LFA. Crazy. Edmund Shabazian should knock this dude the fuck out, I'm going to be honest. I know Edmund Shabazian is not the world's greatest fighter, very inconsistent, kind of has a weakness to guys with a takedown. Dude, Dylan Budka is fucking awful. If Dylan Budka wins this fight, this sport's fake. Like, AJ Dobson, I think, is a good win. Luis Gambola's a mid-win. Like, he's ass. Imavov, loss. Oh, well. Anthony Hernandez, loss. Oh, well. Gerald Mearshart, sub. Not the best loss, but honestly, I feel like Mearshart would beat Budka, too, so. I'm going to go with Edmund Shabazian. He's light years better than this guy on the feet. His takedown defense is slightly improved, and if, you know, if Budka couldn't take down Cesar Almeida with, like, no MMA experience, really, I don't think he's taking down Shabazian, but we'll see. He probably will. He'll probably look like fucking prime Daniel Cormier just to spite me. But I'm going with Edmund Shabazian. I'm going to say he TKOs Dylan Budka. Moving up to our co-main event, Calvin Kattar taking on Yusuf Zalal. This is a good fight. This is actually a really good fight. This line is wide. I'm just going to say it right now. This line is disgusting. If you're a guy who bets, the value's on Kattar, in my opinion. Plus 340 is fucking insane. For somebody who's been at the top for as long as Calvin Kattar has. However, I am picking Yusuf Zalal. I think Yusuf Zalal is really fucking good. He's looked really good lately in his career. He's put together quite the streak outside of the UFC, and then since coming back to the UFC, he's looked really fucking good, dude. You know, subbed up Billy Quarantillo. Picked him to do that as an underdog. Subbed up Jarno Aarons. I believe I picked him to do that as well, and subbed up Jack Shore. I mean, he's just been on a fucking run, dude. And Calvin Kattar, if he has, you know, he's got, like, good initial takedown defense. But if you get him down, it's kind of done. It's kind of wraps. And, man, I haven't really looked into Calvin Kattar's record like this on ESPN. That is not an appealing last 5 fights, I got to be honest. I mean, they're all very high-level guys. I think he probably should have gotten the nod over Josh Emmett, to be honest. But, man, 1 out of 5. Not great. In his last fight, fought Aljamain Sterling on UFC 300. Aljamain Sterling was able to take him down at will. And that's kind of my problem I have. When I broke down Yusuf Zalal's grappling style, specifically against, I believe, Jack Shore, it was, I mentioned that Jack Shore's got good wrestling, and he's got good grappling. Yusuf Zalal, I think, is a worse technical wrestler than a guy like Jack Shore. But what Yusuf Zalal, he has this ability to, when he gets grappling success, he pretty much immediately finds a good position for a submission, which is something that Jack Shore doesn't do. And it's something that I think Yusuf Zalal could do to Jack Shore and find himself in a good position in the grappling, which it did happen. I believe off of a knockdown, though. I just think if Yusuf Zalal gets Kattar down, I know it's crazy to say because Aljamain didn't submit him. But I think Yusuf Zalal can submit Calvin Kattar. I think on the feet, it's going to be close. I think it's going to be competitive. Calvin Kattar is a very nice boxer. Very technical guy. Lead chin. Good power. Zalal is a much younger guy, though. I don't know necessarily if he's going to be faster, but I think that won't matter if he shows Kattar the takedown. If he shoots a couple, even if they get defended, just show it to Calvin Kattar, because doing that kind of stifles his boxing a little bit, because he's a little bit worried. Is this guy going to shoot, or is he going to try and strike with me? It's very, you guys understand it. You guys know ball. You know, you show the striker the takedown to get them guessing, and then your striking becomes even more effective than it would have been. I'm going to go with Yusuf Zalal here. In hindsight, I don't think he's going to submit Calvin Kattar. I think he's probably going to get a decision win here over Calvin Kattar. I think this is going to be a competitive fight. I think this line is most certainly off. I don't think Yusuf Zalal should be minus 500 against a guy like Kattar. But yeah, I'm going to go with Yusuf Zalal. I think he's going to get a decision win here in this matchup. And moving up to our main event at middleweight, Jared Cannonier versus Gregory Rodrigues. Oh, brother. This is a sick fight, but if you were to ask me about this matchup like a year ago, I think I would have picked Jared Cannonier without a second thought, dude. But now, I'm uncertain, because Jared Cannonier is coming off of 2 pretty bad TKO losses. Nasruddin Imavov, people wanted to argue that stoppage was early. It wasn't, brother. Saved him from taking a shit ton more damage, so I think that was a fine stoppage. Caio Borralho, don't know how he made it to the fucking decision. He was fucking completely unconscious in that fight. I just don't love the look for Jared Cannonier lately. He's been getting hurt very badly. I don't think the chin is there so much. I think he's still very good. I think he's very powerful. I think he's got nice clean striking. He's got good reach. He's got good speed. I just think the chin's kind of letting him down a little bit. Now, I want it to be noted that if there is, I think Gregory Rodrigues, despite being an absolute physical specimen, is the most approachable matchup out of the last two, out of the three of Imavov, Borralho, and Rodrigues. This is, in my opinion, the most winnable one. Because one thing Rodrigues does not have, he doesn't have the world's best chin. Like, he does have an off switch that you can hit. You know what I mean? And Jared Cannonier, very accurate striker, very powerful striker. I could see it. You know, kind of similar to how Bruno Ferreira knocked out Gregory Rodrigues. Rodrigues crowding him up against the cage, and Cannonier just uncorks it straight, right on the button, shuts him off. Could happen. Very possible outcome. My problem is, Gregory Rodrigues has good grappling. He doesn't really use it, but he has it. And he's been talking about using it more. He's got really legit jiu-jitsu. He's got a good takedown. And by God, when this guy gets on top of you, it's looking like the 2008 housing crisis. Because he looks like Barack Obama. That's my problem. I think Jared Cannonier has very good initial takedown defense. My problem is if he does get taken down, can he get up with this fucking mutant on top of him? And I don't think he can. Now, granted, this is Gregory Rodrigues' first 5-round fight. We haven't seen him in championship rounds, so if it goes that deep, we could see, you know, him slow down, him gas out, and Cannonier is a guy, we've seen him in 5 rounds plenty of times. He could come on and start beating the shit out of Gregory Rodrigues and finish him easily. This is a tricky one. I think this line's off. I think these guys should be lining closer. I know Cannonier hasn't had the best optics lately. I'm almost talking myself into picking Cannonier as an underdog, but man, that 40-year age is not looking appealing to me personally. I'm going to go with Gregory Rodrigues here. He's got good pressure. He's got insane power. He's got pretty technical striking. He's got good grappling. He's got a good takedown. He's got really underrated jiu-jitsu. And he's got nasty ground and pound. Okay? But I'm giving a shout to Cannonier. I think he is a good underdog here. And I'm almost tempted to pick him. So I think this fight should be lying like Gregory Rodrigues, like minus 170. In my opinion. Like, I think this is very close. But yeah, I'm going to go with Gregory Rodrigues. I just think if he gets Cannonier down, I'm not so certain Cannonier gets back up. But I could see Cannonier catching him with a big shot and finishing him. Or schooling him over 5 rounds. As the fight gets deeper, maybe Rodrigues slows down a little bit. Cannonier kind of ramps it up. I could see that too. But I could also see a world where Cannonier gets caught up against the cage and flattened. Or I could see him get taken down and fucking smashed. Or strangled. It's hard to say. This is a good fight. I'm actually really excited about this main event. But I'm going to go with Gregory Rodrigues here. Do I think he submits him? I think he's going to TKO Jared Cannonier. I think he's going to get him down and just laying ground and pound. Maybe Cannonier kind of shells up and then they stop the fight. I think that's what's going to happen. But yeah, that's it for UFC Fight Night Cannonier Rodrigues, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it a ton. Sorry this video is out late. I've kind of been a lazy slug man. But I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.